will finalize today and email it to Ms. Solomon. So you do have a paper record of my report, which will have a brief summary of the previous two topics, our finance status in the new year, which I actually can read off the top of my head. So as of 30 October, the as-of date for the first month of the fiscal year, the benchmark for collections is 8%, and we are at 8%. So at this point in time, we're at where we should be for this year financial, as of the 30th of October. Earlier, this would have been Monday. So the targets for this year are more realistic than last year, and I don't know the exact details. It'll be in the written report, but our targets for Medicare are 5 million, Medicaid are 22 million, private insurance I believe is 2.5, and VA is 5, to the tune of in the neighborhood of $30.6 million. That's our target. 8% as of 30 October is where we should be, and we are. So for the first month, we're at where we need to be. Yes, sir.
Question, Richard Greenwald.
Just for the record, Mark, I know Keely's back on, and we got our radio, our news station back on. AB staffing last day is on, and the new company that's their name and when they start, so
Gotcha.
the public knows what's going on.
No, perfect. Good question. At midnight on the 16th, the AB contract expires. 12:01 on the 17th, new contract with Central Care Incorporated out of Alexandria, Virginia, shortened CCI, begins. 12:01. November 17th. Good, great question. So that's the monetary status where we're at right now. The additional section of the report that I again will submit. Actually, I have 2 points. One is we'll have a rundown of all the facility projects, and I'll talk about 2 of them. Dental. The first half of the project is open, and they've been in there as of Monday. They are demoing the second half of dental. And hopefully that will go a little faster than the previous one. Now that they've done half, it'll be faster. Whether that's 2, 3, hopefully not 4 months, that'll be the dental project. And then the apartment building, if you've been over in the campus, the 19-unit apartment building, which actually has 4 camper hookups as well, I learned recently, looks to be, they're buttoning that up hopefully before, the flurry of winter happens, and they can start working inside. They're working the roofing and the windows, and I believe siding is, I don't know if that began or if it's imminent, but it's coming. So they want to button that up so they can finish that. And our target date, which again helps us for recruiting and retention and housing, the myriad of staff that we have, is in the neighborhood of May or June of 2018. The only other point in the written report that I'll submit goes back to a discussion point earlier. We are at about 20 to 21 days in behind in coding, and we have put out multiple SOSs for assistance throughout the area, as we have continually. We are also, while we're struggling getting support, which is just a fact, really the solution to our coding situation, which again gets into billing, is when you have challenges or life issues and you can't, your staff is challenged in that way, you want to reach out to contract support to do that. Well, we're trapped in not being able to reach out to contract support due to contracting rules and a protest going on, that we're trapped. So we don't have that avenue, which is really the easiest and most expedient avenue. And so we didn't have that conversation. So we're reaching out again to get the resources we can. Yes, sir.
Robin Tapio, you have a question.
Thank you, Mr. Mearsman. Could you make a statement on the radio about the close down? Because we're getting texts from different people that IHS is right. Closing at 1. So if you could just validate that, thank you.
Understand. Yeah, no, good point. There is no shutdown. There is no change in services at all forever. Period, dot. No closure, no shutdown, no impact. in services at IHS, Pine Ridge, Kyle, Wambley, Manderson when they're there, and La Creek, you know, all within my purview. No impact. Zero impact, fully open. We are here to take care of you. We will take care of you. We deliver safe, quality health care every single day. That's what we do. That's what we're committed to. Not stopping. Appreciate the support and getting that crystal clear message out there. Thank you. Thanks for providing me the opportunity to do that.
Collins Clifford.
Mr. Mearsman, how is it possible to get some of them statistics that Mr. Driving Hawk was mentioning on the shortfalls that we have based on our budget here on the Pine Ridge itself? If it is, if we can get them by 4 o'clock, that would be excellent, because then we could actually start doing something comes Monday.
Right. I will work with him right when I get back. I got to work that with him. He's really way more of a finance expert than I am. He brings that skill set to the table, but I have to work with him on that to get
Okay,
that
'cause if
message clear. So I'll do that right when I get back. Yes, sir.
If you can do that, then that means that we can actually start going on record in Washington comes Monday morning.
Understand.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So that's the summary of my written report that I had drafted I directed not to bring, but I will get that cleared and submit on paper this afternoon to Ms. Solomon, unless I need to submit it somewhere else. But I'll get the paper version of what I just went over. That's the content of what I have drafted up.
Do we have any more questions? Are you completed with your report?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Motion by Sonia Weston to approve the report from IHS, seconded by Lisa Jumping Eagle. Are you a second also? Clarification, Dave Poyer.
Accepting just Mr. Mearsman.
That's all I stated. That's all I stated. Any more questions? Clarification? Call for the vote, please.
Blaine Little Thunder.
Yeah.
Jim Meeks.
Yes.
Cora Whitehorse.
Yes.
Stanley Little White Man.
Yes.
Stephanie Leisure.
Yes.
Valentino Merdanian.
No.
Lydia Bearkiller.
Yes.
James Cross. Ella Giancarlo.
No.
Richard Greenwald.
Yes.
Robin Tapio.
Here.
Philip Goodcrow.
Use your microphone. They're waiting on you. Use your microphone. They didn't hear you.
Okay, was it here did you hear the report? Not voting.
Thank you. David Poyer. Sonia Weston.
Ha.
Jackie Sears. CJ Clifford.
How?
Lisa Jumpin Eagle De Leon. Aha. Craig Dillon.
Yes.
Motion to approve Mark Mearsman from the IHS report, 11 yes, 4 no, and 2 not voting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Next we have on our agenda is the BIA.
Chairman Weston,
Collins Clifford.
Don't we have districts was gonna be on before there?
No, we're trying to get these out of the road. We'll get to them next. I am running this meeting, so you just eat up. Okay? All right. BIA, please proceed.
Good afternoon, everybody. If you've all got a report, and I don't know how much quiet is rated, but the agency is fairly quiet for October. We had a few issues that we're dealing with individually with some of the council reps and different committees, but some of the things I guess you need to be aware of as a group. We do have a new acting superintendent, Adelita Guru. You understand Adelita? She's from the Yankton agency. She'll be here for 60 days. She began as our supervisor on Monday. So she'll be here for 60 days. If you have any questions, I didn't want to put her on the hot spot already, so I'll do the report for today, and then we'll turn it over to her. So Adelita's been a superintendent there for a while, trust experience, but I'll let her in a second get up and kind of introduce herself to you folks. A couple of issues I want to address real quick. We got a request from the tribe, President Weston's office, for $120,000 for the constitutional reform budget. I informed a couple of the task force members that that's been approved by the region, and we're currently processing a modification to a contract to transfer that money to the tribe so they can move forward with the constitutional revision project that you're all working on. One question, I think I got a text answer on yesterday, and just so everyone's aware, we discussed it, I think, at the last meeting, is the issue that we're having with the cows and the horses and the folks striking these things on the open roadways. We offer to discuss that and maybe come up with a plan that the tribe can pass a law. One of the issues that we ran into that I'll refer back to Land Committee is an individual whose cattle caused an accident. He was deemed liable in tribal court but refuses to pay. So I'll address that specifically with the Land Committee on Monday, hoping for some resolution for that. The third item, just real quick, allocations, just so that full tribal council knows, the allocations are not completed yet. We're hoping they get completed at some point. I just want to make you aware, because at some point, as I'm being told by our land operations officer, folks will generally start getting their lease payments in November. That's not going to happen, not until the allocations are done. So we need the allocation committee to meet, to complete their stuff. Yep.
1 second. Dave Poyer.
Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Long's information and the Bureau's information, yesterday I talked to the tribal lawyer and advised him that to tell the staff at land operations to proceed with the billings
Okay.
out of up there, because although they're not done, they could submit bills and some of that lease money can start coming in to the tribe and to the landowners. So I did that yesterday. I didn't know, I told President this morning, I didn't know if it was appropriate, but I thought in the best interest of the Oglala Sioux tribe that it needed to happen right away. Thank you.
Okay, I just informed the land operations officer, just so you know, our staff are out this week in training for rangeland management within the TAM system. So our entire office is basically shut down because this is a requirement of their positions. So all of them are out, but I will let them know to proceed with the billing. Last item, self-determination specialist. I know we had recent discussions on that. She's been in Aberdeen this week and next week, currently training with the awarding officials. The plan, as I understand it, is at some point in December to transition all of the 638 contracts back here to the agency, and we'll manage them locally here at the agency. So we're getting her on a training program, and hopefully we get all of those contracts moved back here soon.
Richard Greenwald, and then Sonia Weston, and then Tina Merdanian. Are you finished with your report?
Yes, sir.
We can start taking the questions.
John, I was just going to ask, did you get our letter from the president's office yet in reference to the fire truck?
No.
Can we get on that right away, Mr. President? Okay. And that's in reference to the structure fire truck that we're requesting.
Yep.
All right.
So my turn?
Sonia Weston.
Thank you, President Weston. I guess my question is, since now we have an acting superintendent, so what does that leave you? I mean, are you going in, something else in the BIA?
I'm actually the Deputy Superintendent for Indian Services. So that's what I was hired back in February for. So she'll assume the superintendent responsibilities. I'll oversee social services and facilities management under the role I was hired for.
Okay. Oh, so that's going to ask you.
Say that again?
See,
Indian Services Deputy Superintendent, that's the position I was hired for, and that covers social services and facilities management.
Okay.
okay.
So I have Sonia, and then Tina Merdanian, and then Cora Whitehorse.
So, John, I just want to follow up in regards to the range units. And with the allocation, has any letters been sent out regarding this?
Yes.
There has been letters sent out?
Yep.
Okay, but no bills have been sent out?
As far as I know, no, but I just texted Lionel and I'm waiting for him to respond.
Okay, so when can we expect for that to be completed? Is the ones that have been approved, when can we get the billing letters out?
I would say, Tuesday at the latest. Now that we've got direction from the tribe and that's what how you want to proceed, I'll let Lionel know so we can move forward that way.
Okay. And then also going back to dam safety, that's been something that we need to update our people on and how we move forward with that. And so if you could please kind of give an update as to where that's at.
Safety of Dams program, just for the folks listening, the folks here. The program, as I understood it, was given back to the Bureau a couple years ago. Funded approximately, I think I told the tribe, about $80,000. We had a $730,000 approximately $1,000 that was identified. A portion was designed for East Dam, or what it's called, Wolf Creek Dam. I met with Mr. Patton and Treasurer on Tuesday and asked him to identify where the money was located. I had discussions with the region because I think I briefed the council earlier that if that money goes back to the region, that we're more than likely going to lose it. So we were trying to think outside the box and how we can keep that money here and continue that project. So we're having discussions on how we can do an MOU with the tribe and maybe have the tribe incorporate the design portion of East Dam. So that's something that we're working on. As far as the individual dams, I got a request from Mary Tobacco from Wakbani District. She asked, and we had prior discussions, but she'd asked for a high hazard classification, and that's kind of the advice that I gave her. For Denby, White Clay, East Dam, and Oglala. But those dams are already classified as high hazard dams. The only one that hadn't been was Denby, and the last time it was classified as a high hazard dam was in 1999. So the engineers indicated he's willing to come down and reclassify that one. On the advice, he said maybe not do the East Dam one because of it being breached. It may not be considered a dam at all. So we need to have discussions on how we want to move forward with Wolf Creek or East Dam. So because there's money also potentially sitting there for that design and fix of that dam, I would just say we leave that one and move forward with the repair design. We've done cleaning projects at all the dams. Our next spot that we're going to work on is Yellow Bear. If you've had a chance to get to Oglala or White Clay Dam, we've made cleanup efforts, some of the stuff that we're allowed to do within the confines, but Yellow Bear and Kyle Dam are our next projects. And that's fencing, basically trying to get them back to what they were, fixing the fence along the spillways, and we're going to add dumpsters and stuff like that, hopefully encouraging people to use the dumpsters instead of throwing trash all over the ground.
Cora Whitehorse.
Thank you. Just two questions. When will the superintendent position be advertised so we have someone permanent to work with?
The region is in fall. Let me backtrack. The new administration has directed all bureau programs, law enforcement, the agencies, or whatever, that all GIST fall positions are to be approved by DC. So we're submitting the packets to DC, but that's the direction that we got. So they have to go to DC for review. They'll make their determination if they're going to allow it to be advertised, and then it's sent back to the regional office. So that's the protocol they're following right now. I don't envision any issues with this one because they just told me that Cheyenne River and another agency were just approved. So I would imagine that ours will be approved as timely as well.
Okay, I was just making sure because there was rumors that we weren't going to get one.
No, there's no truth to that whatsoever. No.
Okay. My next question is, our emergency management, last year they played a huge role in trying to rescue people and during the snowstorms, they cleared roads and, but they don't have their own separate funding. They're funded under our general fund. And right now they're trying to buy a rescue vehicle. It's called a Snowcat. Is there any funding under BIA that we could utilize to purchase that for them?
I've gotten a few requests in the last few months for things of that nature, and one of the things that's been made clear to me, and I've relayed it to a few of the council reps, is that any donations that are made by the Bureau have to be to a 6-year-date contract. And once they're given to that 6-year-date contract, then the tribe can basically do what they want with them. So essentially what we've done on a couple of instances where we've asked the request from the president's office, and I'll give you the structure truck. That one, we're working with the tribe to try to get that truck turned over to the HIP program. And that was kind of the route we're going to go, is through the HIP program. So if the tribe or this entity wants to make that designation, I would probably recommend that you take that emergency management program and put it under one of these programs that currently operate. And it would make the designation a lot easier to acquire some of that property.
And on top of that, when we did have our discussion, it was brought to my attention that initially they did have over $800,000 in carryover, but that John did make the recommendation to them various departments to buy their, purchase new vehicles, to upgrade, do whatever, however. The thing that he did tell me after that, because I told him, I said, well, we're waiting on the truck, we're waiting on the grader that they illegally took from us 2 years ago. Also on the top of was the Snowcat. And so within that process, I told him, I said, we need to start this, and that's when he said the 638 programming, we need to get our programs to say this is what we need. And so like the emergency management department, road department, they're already going to be, I know fuels management, or the motor fuels already runs in the red every month. And they're trying to look at different options of maybe buy it, if we could pick up, because there's $60,000 and they're still trying to find $60,000 to pick up to pay for road grader and heavy equipment repairs, and that's caused from last year's storms. And then we're still waiting here, but so we can utilize the parts for that breakdown. We can utilize a projected process for what we need for that Snowcat. We just need to be really smart about what we need to do, because he's telling me that we're just over $200,000 that's going to be left over. But then I also told him that I do know, because I've been in the Bureau, I know that there's millions and millions and millions of dollars that are carried over from other tribes that get allocated years and years of money, and they turn it back. And so it goes back to the government, and they do whatever, however, but that's what we need to do, is let's be smart. Let's put this out there to say, this is what we need, not what we want. So I'm asking the committees to get with their directors to start that process. Go ahead.
I'll, real quick, superintendent's conference call, we were given the direction that each agency had a certain amount of carryover. Ultimately, my responsibility is to address the agency first, and then the direction I got was to provide whatever is remaining to the tribe based on specific requests from a 6-year contract with a specific goal, budget, et cetera. So if you got a road department that has those repairs that are needed, that's probably a good place to start, because I'm assuming you have quotes for repairs on that equipment. And then what we have remaining, I don't envision, quite honestly, to spend all of my carryover, so I'd be happy to give that, well, Alita now, be happy to give that to the tribe for these programs specifically. Specific projects. Yeah.
Dave Boyer.
So John, when will